Hi again. I'm not sure what our elevation is, but we're pretty high. You've seen us up here before. And coolest thing, we've got some kind of ladybug. I don't know what you call it. There are thousands of them, like hundreds of thousands of them. They may be landing on me as we film. I don't know what you call that, a bloom or an invasion? I don't know, but there's a lot of ladybugs. Anyway, so what are we looking at? It's getting harder and harder to find rifles, especially from pre-1900 or around 1900, when they tended to be very interesting because the technology was at that time based entirely on human thinking, not machine thinking, and then human manufacture. I say the obvious. I found this one online. It immediately reminded me of a miniature, what should we say, Mosin Nagant, maybe an early Mauser. You can see the locking. Those of you that know firearms, that's quite familiar to lock on the side of the action here. And the bolt is integral with just a massive lug. So in some ways it's kind of like a Lee Enfield, in other ways like a Mosin. Different ones come to mind. Anyway, I liked it right away, but normally when I see something like this, it's in the European version of either an old rimfire or a small center fire. Sometimes the European version of 22 Hornet, which is 5.6 by something. Excuse me. No luck with this one. It's a 6.5 by 27. And believe it or not, if you punch in 6.5 by 27, it does come up. And it took some doing, but I did manage to get some ammunition for it. And what it is it's a 6.5 caliber cartridge. You can see, well, you can't really tell caliber from just looking most of the time, but it's 6.5 and 27 millimeters long, so quite a short cartridge. So this probably was a small game cartridge, I would expect. I don't know the ballistics at all. This is based on a 25-20, what I have here. And I just did some test shooting, which is the first time I've had this out. This probably has not been fired, I don't know, in 100 years, or maybe not that long, but the bore had like cobwebs in it, so it's been a while. Held together by, these, it's an escutcheon, so a metal wedge. I've always liked that system. You've probably seen it more on black powder guns, especially our younger viewers and subscribers. It was set up for a claw-mounted scope, and it's got some nice engraving. So somebody put quite a bit of effort into this gun. You can see it's a single shot, so no magazine, no floor plate really, but some decent engraving, some decent checkering. The whole stock design is good, and it's comfortable, and it was presented to someone. There's one of those ladybug visitors or invaders, and it says meine Waldtraut Wiedmannschiel Emil. You can see it's kind of a nice thing, a nice gesture of some kind of gift. So meine Waldtraut Wiedmannschiel Emil. I don't know, I'm assuming it says something like my good friend, but you would know better than me, those of you that speak German. Anyhow, so where do we go from here? I tested it for, safety, so on. It's missing a safety. Would be a flag safety right here. So I'll have to find that. And it also is lacking the extractor. And I've had this on other collectible guns. And one of the solutions is to sort of magnetize the bolt head because the primer is magnetic. I haven't done anything so far. I may make an extractor, I'll have to see. Anyway, loading, very simple because there's a loading platform, so the cartridge sits in here and I have to help it into the chamber somewhat. So like that, it just sits and the rest is straightforward, or should be. Help it along. and we would be ready to fire, so we want to be in that condition. Double set triggers, and I set up a plate, just our old metal plate. This is, I would say, at the testing stage, so I'm just seeing, how it functions and how that 6.5 ammo, they're Hornady bullets, how that works, and we'll see. I also don't have a front sight, that's missing. So then you have to kind of guess, but generally speaking, it works out okay. Looks like about there. And we shot over. So now we have to actually go back to the bench because this is a muzzle unloader. We have to use a cleaning rod to get the brass out. Sometimes it falls out. But anyway, we'll reload and come back, take a few more shots. So we used our muzzle unloader and got another round. You can see it's a very simple, it's a very simple mechanism. This is not hard to understand. I actually like it a lot. It's hopefully going to be a useful little rifle to own. So that's all locked and closed. Obviously, that's not going to go anywhere. I've got one more round, and we'll take a shot at that plate. So we hit the plate, and you can gauge a lot by the reaction of that plate, just because I've shot so many rounds. And I mean, there's not much energy here, but when you're doing something like this, you have to start with minimal energy because you don't know how things are going to unfold. So I'm sure there are a lot of you that know what I'm talking about, and maybe a lot that don't, but I'm doing my best anyway. So that comes back. But if I had the extractor, then it would look, we don't even need it. It fell out. That's cool. I wanted to talk about that. And now I don't have to talk so much. Anyway, so put another round in. And it's actually easy to hit without a front sight. You just have to think about it. So that is, I would say that is, sometimes the brass needs to cool off a bit, and then it falls out. That is a success. When I purchased it and I saw that it's 6.5, that's a challenge for an older cartridge. And then 27R, like I said, it has a unique name. Something like Redninsky or something like that. 6.5 by 27. Beautiful rifle to own. Everything works, and there were some made, not many, and production kind of stopped before the First World War, somewhere in there, somewhere around the time of the Titanic sinking, 2012, and this one could have been made. I have to do more research, but it could have been made by a gun maker at the time named Funk. I used to have an encyclopedia of European gun makers, but I've misplaced it, so I'll have to find it and look in there. Maybe if we have time, I'll show you in the studio how well made this is inside. Very easy to take apart because the scutcheons facilitate quick disassembly. And you don't have to, no screwdriver needed. Well, you need one for this screw at the back. And other than that, I mean, totally comfortable. It's actually surprising. Yeah, I mean, that's as good as, well, I would have to say it's better than most modern guns. Anyway, enough from me. I hope you find that interesting, and whoever built this was a good gun maker and cared about the product. And it's a half round to octagon barrel, and you can see the cross hatching on the rib. And of course, they had the advantage of a lot of people who could do these claw mounts because there were gills, and the claw mount remains, I have to say, the easiest, especially if there's a rib on the scope. Then you can change your scope out if you want. Anyhow, beautiful piece, definitely something. If you see it, most people will think, you know, junk. You might get for 100 or 200, whatever. But that's not the value. That's just the price. Anyhow, okay, well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.